We are going to look more at how to do transformations. So Vertex formed a standard form. Whenever we do transformations, we look at all the different ways that it can be transformed. So we did this before, where we looked at the A of this equation. If it's negative, it reflects. If it's less than or greater than 1, it's narrower. That's called a stretch. So go ahead and write the word stretch. If it's between 0 and 1, it's wider, which is called a compression. And we're talking vertical and horizontal, but when we talk about stretch and compression, we're just going to talk about vertical. H is your crazy X. It does the opposite. So if your boyfriend or girlfriend does the opposite of what they say they're going to do, then they'll probably become your ex or your crazy ex. They say they're going to call and they don't call. They say they're not going to go out and party all night, but they do. They do the opposite. That's why they're your crazy ex. Shh. So the H is the opposite. So this H, this would be a negative H, even though it says plus H. H is a negative value. I'm not going to write anything there. And then K goes either up or down, so that's at the very end outside the parentheses. You also have these on your desk. This is going to be kind of like a cheat sheet to help you. So you can go ahead and grab one. These aren't to take. These are for you to use in class. So negative reflects. Right in front of the parentheses is the A. It's either a stretch or compression. Stretch makes it skinnier, and it's a number bigger than 1. Compression makes it fatter, and it's a number between 0 and 1. Then the H, it's inside the parentheses with the X, so it's called your crazy X. So a minus H goes right, a plus H goes left, and then outside the parentheses, the K, which tells you your vertical shift, either up or down. Okay, so let's look at this one because we didn't finish this the other day. So we'll start with this one. Y equals half, parentheses, x minus 5 squared plus 1. Some of y'all did it, so I want you to check right now and see if you've already done it. Okay, on this one it says the A is the 1/2. It's not negative, so we don't do reflection. But 1/2 tells us that it's going to be a compression. It gets fatter. It's called a vertical compression. H is 5. Even though it says minus 5, it's your crazy X. It's the opposite. So since it's a negative 5, it's going to go the opposite of what you think it does. It's going to go right 5. And then K is plus 1. So K is 1. K does what it says it's going to do. So that means it's going to go up 1. So our vertex is the H comma K. So it's 5, 1. Okay, let's do the one right beside it. Vertical shift up 2. So of the equation, the A, the H, and K, vertical shift up 2 is your K. So go ahead and put K equals 2 right beside it. Horizontal shift is your H. Left 3. So left, you normally think it's negative, but it's your crazy X. So it's a positive 3. Reflect across the x-axis means we're going to have a negative out front. And then the stretch by a factor of 5 means that A is 5. So we're going to write our equation. Y equals A parentheses x minus h squared plus k. And this is on your formula chart. It's not something you have to memorize. You do need to know what A, H, and K do, though. So we know it's a reflection, so it's going to be y equals negative. And then we know A is 5 because it stretches by a factor of 5. Parentheses x, and then minus h. Because it says h is 3, it goes left, it does the opposite, so it's going to be plus 3 squared. And then vertically shifts up 2. All right, move this to the side, and we're going to look at y'all's worksheet for today and do some of those problems. Keep your notes out so you can look back at them. I'm just putting it to the side. And also keep this out so you can look at it. Let's start with number 1. We're going to go through each one of the letters. So A, H, and K. So I'm going to go ahead and write it here. A parentheses x minus h squared plus k. Write your name on here, circle your class period. And let's look at the first thing. So the first thing would be looking for a negative. Is there a negative? Yeah. Negative out front. So I'm just going to put a little negative here. And so that means we reflect across the x-axis. So put reflect, parentheses, x-axis. Because sometimes you'll be given the option of reflecting across the y-axis. But that's only whenever the negative is inside by the x. And then we have A is 3, so I'm going to put A equals 3. So we got to know, is that stretch or compression? So look back, or look at this. A is bigger than 1. So if it's bigger than 1, then it's a stretch. If it's between 0 and 1, it's a compression. So it's bigger than 1, so it is a stretch. So it's a stretch by a factor of 3. So that was the A, and so this is the H. H says minus 2. So H is positive 2 because it's the opposite. It's your crazy X. So what does the H tell us if it's a minus H? It tells us it's right. So this is going to be right 2. So you're listing out all the transformations. Okay, let's go to number 9. So we got to list them all out. What's the first thing you see? The negative. What does the negative tell us? Reflect. Is number 6 a reflect? Is there a negative out front? No. Is number 8 a negative out front? Yes, okay, so just pay attention to that. All right, what about A? A is 1/4. What is that going to do according to our notes? It's not bigger than 1. It's actually 0.25, so it's a compression. And then x minus h, so what is h? If it says minus, then we change it to a positive. This is our equation, but when we write what h is, it's positive. So a minus h tells us we're going to go right. Right 1. And then our last number is k, plus k, so k is 4. So what does that mean? K is our final thing. This is h, this is k. K tells us up or down, so it's positive, so we're going to go up 4. Okay, I'm going to give you a few minutes to do 2 through 8 now. Let's move on to the next section. Hopefully you're able to get 1 through 9 done. So the next one says, given the changes, write the equation. So the equation is y equals a, parentheses, x minus h squared plus k. So we're going to go through and say, okay, A deals with stretch and compression, and it's also, if there's a negative, it's a reflection. So this first one says it reflects the x-axis. That means I'm going to put a negative out front. So y equals negative. And then it says vertical compression by a factor of 1/3. That means it's going to get wider. So we put 1/3 in the A spot. A spot is here. And then X says horizontal shift right 3.5. So it's the opposite. Remember, it's your crazy X is your H. So whenever I look here, it says what? Right 3.5. So right means it's going to be plus 3.5 inside that parentheses. And then there's no K. It doesn't say up or down. So we're done right there. We're done with that one. Let's do number 11. Stretch by a factor of 3. So y equals. If it's a stretch or compression, then that's your A. So that is the first number that's going to go. Stretch by a factor of 3. So 3. Parentheses, and then we have x, our crazy x. It says left 6, so remember the crazy x does the opposite, so we would say plus 6 squared. Don't forget that squared. The squared is what makes it quadratic. And then vertical shift down 10, so that's your k. K, since it says plus or down would be minus, right? So minus 10. Okay, I want you to finish 10 through 18 now.